going over to the top side. He's a little bit caught out, separated from his team, so he has to be careful, but he is going to back off. Both teams are circling around Baron, trying to get some ward coverage, or CLG.EU is trying to get ward coverage, while TSM.Evo is just trying to maintain their position. And actually, the Olaf was chased away. He's going to come back to join his team, but it's just the Baron dance going on right now.
Yeah,
well, actually, Asher coming out, catching that Shen, and he's going to try to get back, but they're going to try to engage this fight here. The Randu is coming out from Shen as he backs off, and it is a successful disengage, but we'll see what TSM.Evo tries to do in the aftermath. They back off from Baron, and they're just going to go back towards mid lane.
Right, I mean, they did blow the Ghost from Ashe, from Olaf, and the Ultimate, of course, from Ashe, so their potential for engaging has, diminished greatly, and so I'm sure they know that, and they don't really want to be caught out in the open and be involved in a poke war where they can't really guarantee that they can engage on the opposing team. So good job, certainly, by CLG.EU for disengaging there, and now they're going to do what their, team was made to do, and that is just poke this turret.
Yep, and that ultimate from Kog'Maw doing so much damage. Janna being forced to get back, and some axes coming out from Olaf, as well as lay waste from the Karthus, but they can't match the poke that this Kog'Maw has.
No, definitely not. Actually taking some turret hits, not even minding, trying to get more of those living artilleries on, and now Shen's tanking the turret a little bit, only has Kog'Maw hitting it though, and didn't have Ezreal attacking it quite yet, but I mean they're very, very slowly poking this down, I suppose.
Ezreal using his ultimate to try to help bottom, but now another engage coming out as Rumble gets a little bit caught out, is very low and does fall. Karthus does die, but he is not in a good position. He's going to use his ultimate, and that is going to get a kill. But looks like we have a 2-for-1 trade. TSM.Evo came out on top, and CLG.EU is on the run. Ashe trying to get catch up, and Ezreal throwing out those mystic shots, but they are going to be able to back up successfully, and we'll see if they're able to. Oh, actually, Kog'Maw trying to catch Ashe, and might be able to. Oh, does miss that one last ultimate, so isn't going to, but it got a lot of damage on Ashe.
Yeah, it definitely did, and that was good to put that damage on. It means that they'll have a little bit more hesitancy pushing down this next turret, which they were heading towards. It looks like they are going to back off. Obviously, they don't want to get poked down at the turret because that could mean a potential counter Baron, and they might just head up to Baron instead. Aphromoo actually is heading that way on Ashe, but cannot do it on their own, so it looks like they will likely back off. Cannot do it on their own when they're at, a third health and you have no defensive armor items.
Ashe not known as one of the top solo Baroners.
Yeah, probably not. No real AD steroid, no defensive steroid. Yeah, not a great, no sustain. Worth mentioning. Based on just Ashe alone. Of course, almost a full build there. If they decide to turn that into Quicksilver Sash, that would be a full build. Meanwhile, Kog'Maw 426 farm, 427. Are you kidding me? A 6-0 Kog'Maw doing such a great job poking down. Has that Void Staff, Death Cap, Rylai's, and Archangel Staff, and now their inhibitor has respawned, so they're going to go back to their poke battle, I imagine. How many cleanses? They have all their cleanses up, they have Shen's ultimate up, they have just about everything ready to go.
Yep, and now Shen is going to go bot lane as the rest of CLG.EU stays mid lane. Looks like a quick dragon for TSM.Evo before they transition. Oh, looks like they're actually going to try to go bot lane.
Yeah, it does look like that. It looks like they're trying to force the hand of CLG.EU. Certainly not a bad idea there. But they're being sneaky. Oh, what they're trying to do is sneak up behind the opposition so they can't be kited and ran away from. I think that might have been the strategy.
Yep.
But now they've given away their position, so they might just go for this bottom lane. It looked like they really were going to try to pinch them, which would have been entertaining, but instead, just kill that turret really quick, go straight after it, and are going to pick up this inhibitor. And there is another naked inhibitor as well.
Yep, and they're trying to get away, but a lot of slows coming out, especially from that Kog'Maw with that Rylai's, and is forcing Olaf to get away using that heal from Kayle and that movement speed boost. But I mean, if you noticed, the Ashe and the Janna were going ahead of the group, acting as scouts with that Oracles to try to scout out any wards so that they don't give themselves away.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shen did blow his ghost. I'm not certain why. I don't think Snoopy could have caught anyone, but it could have been just to scare them further back and make them recall so they could steal this upcoming Baron. So that could have been their strategy. There is a ward in the Baron pit for TSM.Evo, and TSM.Evo not going back. They're like, oh, actually, there's still that naked inhibitor there. We would love to kill that. That would certainly, really prohibit your poke comp because there would be just minions pushing everywhere. You won't be able to delay us forever because if you delay us at a turret, our minions will push you really hard. So yeah, great strategy by TSM.Evo, really doing their best to counter this poke strategy that can be really frustrating to play against and really difficult to counter, especially when the other team has someone so great like a Shen to split push, so you can pretty much combine the two, most difficult to counter strategies with the, split pushing and the poke strat.
Yeah, but at the same time, we see, despite how good of a job that TSM has done, they've been able to manage a lead of almost 10k in gold. But CLG.EU is staying in this. They have done a very good job. They have had close team fights whenever a team fight did break out, and they have been able to do a lot of poke damage. So, there's a pretty big gold disparity, but it doesn't tell the whole story. They're a lot closer than it might appear.
Yeah, and actually, they missed the ward in that little bush there, so certainly CLG.EU knows this is happening, but the Baron goes down so fast it doesn't even matter. TSM.Evo has a great Baroning team, do take it down, then pick up the ward, and now they have a pretty big advantage here. They have that bottom inhibitor down, they have the middle inhibitor which they can now just rush to and take down, and then they can just kind of work their way throughout the game. And just, so long as they don't take an extended amount of poke during these, fights, before these fights rather, they really have a huge advantage with that Baron buff and that 10,000 gold lead. And now Ashe with a full build, Banshee's Veil, Last Whisper, Infinity Edge, Bloodthirster, and Phantom Dancer. So going for that Banshee's Veil as opposed to Quicksilver Slash, of course, not really worried about getting stunned once so much, but more so about that overall poke damage coming in from the opposing team.
Yep, and interesting to note is the Ezreal's build. He has a Bloodthirster, a Brutalizer, and the Trinity Force, as well as the Guardian Angel as his main items. So his main offensive items are a Bloodthirster, a Brutalizer, and a Trinity Force. Not something you see very often, but that is going to help his Mystic Shot poke a lot. So I think what they're trying to do with that build is to try to maximize their poke damage and really try to use that strategy of poking.
Yeah, absolutely. It seemed like it could have worked at a number of points, but they were never really ahead where they felt like they could take advantage, I don't believe. We do see a lot of poke coming down on Karthus there. But, he's going to be able to back out, and the Baron will eventually heal him up. So, like I said, I think they should just head straight down middle. Looks like what they are going to do, and if they can force an engage, then they feel like they'll win that battle. If they can't force an engage, at least they get an inhibitor for free.
Yep, so a lot of poke damage still coming out from Kog'Maw, and pretty good wave clears, so TSM.Evo is still a little bit reluctant to go in there, despite it being a naked inhibitor and there being no tower there.
Yeah, that's really interesting to me. I figure, the quicker they do it, the better they would be off. Everyone has all their cooldowns. Maybe they're just waiting for someone to move down bottom to clear that wave or find some sort of advantage. But at this point, the battle is all focused right here in middle. And everyone has everything prepared. It's not going to get any easier for TSM.Evo as time goes on.
Yep, and they do move in, they attack this inhibitor, and they do manage to take it down. CLG.EU is forced to back off, and now they're still backing off, and TSM.Evo looks like they might be looking to transition top, but no, it looks like they're just going to try to go for these Nexus turrets. Oh no, they're going back top, so they're going to try to take down this turret, and it looks like they will, because, yep, CLG.EU isn't able to respond, and now it looks like there might be an engage, but CLG.EU backs off, and a Shrelius comes out from the Soraka, trying to make something happen, as Ashe is taking a lot of damage, and is forced to get away, but the equalizer isn't enough to help slow and take him down, but they do pick up Salsi, and the ultimate comes out from Karthus, but it does pick up Shen, so a 1-for-1 trade. An Ashe Arrow comes out, doesn't hit anybody, so a lot of little battles going on in this area, but 1-for-1 trade, taking out Karthus and Shen, and TSM.Evo has to get out of the base.
Yeah, and TSM.Evo didn't get that last inhibitor. I thought they were going to be able to get that, so good job for CLG.EU to defend that point. Really going on the aggressive, despite the fact that the other team still had Baron. Really manly move there. Good show, good show. And now they're not really as dead in the water. I mean, they're still in a really bad situation here, but they have 2 of their inhibitors up. Bottom must have respawned. Or is that a bug on my thing? It didn't seem like it should have respawned so early, but it does appear to be back up.
Yep, it
on my
appears to
screen.
be back up on mine as well.
Great. So I guess the 5 minutes or whatnot passed, and they're all ready to go again. But now, yeah. So the middle inhibitor, the middle super wave creeps are still pushing, but just 1 lane. That's not too bad for CLG.EU. And I was thinking, had TSM.Evo won that fight and picked up, maybe 1 or 2 more members, they could have essentially pushed down the extra 2 inhibitors, and you could have seen a game where Froggen would have ended the game as like a 7-0 Kog'Maw without ever having died, but still not being able to defend the face, which would have been, terrible and kind of interesting all at the same time. And he's nearing 500 farm as well, so almost 100 farm above anyone else in the game. Really, really impressive showing. But he does have an advantage over his team where he can farm from such great distance. It's not like he's going to get creep stolen by his own team.
Yep. And Kog'Maw basically has the entire build right now, picking up that Lichbane as his final item, and using those elixirs using the blue elixir to get more cooldown reduction and to get more AP.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's getting to that point where people have their full builds, people are just ready to pop those potions, thinking that the next battle might be the final battle. And now Kog'Maw actually doing a lot of damage just with auto attacks as well. Does 6% plus 7%, so 13% of target's maximum health per auto attack, and of course has that void staff to reduce the magic, the armor or the magic resistance of all of the opponents that he does hit. So very, very effective there. A lot of consistent damage possible coming out from that Kog'Maw, and of course the poke damage as we've been talking about all game long. So now TSM.Evo, once again, is kind of put in a pickle. How do we engage? How do we force an engage here and really, try to end this game in our favor?
Yep. And TSM.Evo has done a fairly good job of engaging in team fights so far, despite having a lot of trouble getting those Ash Arrows to land, especially with those cleanses, but they've done a pretty good job, and they have the Baron buff, or no, they don't.
Yeah, no, the Baron buff has worn off, but it's so interesting. They've been ahead, they've come ahead almost in every single team fight. I mean, they've certainly been close team fights, but they just come out ahead being more healthy at the end of the team fight, or coming out 1 person ahead. Obviously, only 14 to 15 kills, 52 minutes into the game. And I'm interested to see. My friend actually asked me, what's the longest game that you've ever seen played? And I was like, I don't know. I'm sure I've been in a couple of longer than an hour ones, but I wonder what the longest game ever was, or longest game in a tournament history perhaps was. Certainly, I think CLG.EU and Moscow 5 have been part of some really big doozies, but I don't know that they, take the prize. And it looks like TSM.Evo wants to, go for this next Baron. That seems to be what they're positioning for, what they're awarding for. But CLG.EU is
Yep, sorry, a lot of these wards coming out in lane to give them vision even when the creeps push up. And now Baron has spawned, so looks like CLG.EU is in a pretty good position, while TSM.Evo is forced to back off a little bit.
Yeah, and the inhibitor will be respawning soon, so they're kind of at a standstill here. Baron is up. The inhibitors are all coming out. They're pushing down middle. The minion waves are pushing against the favor of CLG.EU, but I don't know that they're actually in danger of losing those inhibitors just to creeps, and Ezreal can, of course, ultimate backwards to save them. At the same time, it looks like everyone on CLG.EU is going to back up, but if they actually go back, if they actually recall, TSM.Evo can take down Baron so fast.
Yep, and it looks like that is what they're positioning themselves to do, moving up towards the Baron area, destroying wards, and they are going to go in, and they start it. So they are going to start this Baron, but CLG.EU is forced to back off, and they are forced to defend their own base while giving up Baron buffs. So now TSM.Evo has this Baron buff. They are going to try to use this to push down even more, and perhaps even try to win the game.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, but they've had Baron buff before, and they still have not been super aggressive. Still haven't been really confident in their ability to win the fights. And, you know, even at this point in the game, Soraka certainly not a full build, Janna not a full build, not surprising on either of those accounts. I am surprised, well, better not get too excited about the item builds, because there's going to be a lot of action coming up.
Yep, and some poke going out. The old equals are coming out from Rumble, and it looks like actually not much goes on after the equalizer goes down. So some damage, but no actual engage, and some wars going down. Oh, Soraka getting caught by that Ash arrow, and is going to get very low, using that heal to try to stay alive. So Saucy comes in with the Karthus, trying to get in the middle of everything. Is going to use his ultimate and do a lot of damage. And Ezreal is very low. TSM.Evo is looking pretty good right now. They're going to go for this inhibitor, while Ash almost picks off the Rumble and is going to dance around here, actually trying to get a lot of damage and force them away from these inhibitors. TSM.Evo is going to go for this last inhibitor, and they are going to get it because CLG.EU is unable to respond to this. So now they're going to try to make this final push with all the inhibitors down. Ezreal using his ultimate to try to clear creep waves to frantically defend the space, but
finally Froggen goes down.
Yep.
Finally Froggen is killed.
And Ezreal using the Guardian Angels to stay alive, but looks like TSM.Evo is going to be able to push. Actually, a fight coming out as the equalizer comes down, but an ace for CLG, or ace of CLG.EU by TSM.Evo, and they are going to take this hard-fought game.
Yeah, absolutely. So really good engage there. Finally catching Soraka, who's a pretty good person to catch, because obviously Soraka doesn't have that cleanse, doesn't have movement abilities, doesn't have a great escape ability, had to burn the flash, had to try to heal herself, was not enough. And then finally the game does come to a conclusion, and Froggen does finally die 1 and 2 as Kog'Maw. That is pretty crazy, and, you know, actually could have ended the game 8-0. So really, really good show, really great game from both teams. We saw the poke composition trying to match up against that really good engage strategy. Obviously, Ashe not the best, not the ideal AD carry you want to face up against if you're doing that poke, just because she has the great potential to initiate and to stick on you with the frost shot. So once again, good job CLG.EU, good job TSM.Evo. TSM.Evo is taking the game, and now CLG.EU is in a tricky spot. I believe they're 3 and 2, but the way the group could, you know, set up, they might be 3 and 2 along with Legion, along with TSM.Evo. And if that were the case, then they would lose the, you know, the head-to-head matchup tiebreaker and would not be making it to our finals. So only time will tell to see how the other teams play out. But that is a possible, you know, situation, a sticky situation for CLG.EU, I suppose.
Yep. So a very exciting game there. And it could be a pretty exciting group stage as well, as you said, with the standings as they are. I think we're going to take a little break. Do you know what the next game we have on tap for here?
You know, we did switch it around a little bit. We weren't scheduled to cast this game.